The Americans are 2 wins away from locking up a playoff berth, but today they look to lock up something else, the season series over Paul Wolf's Buffalo Diesel. The Americans won 3-1 last time these teams faced off, but without Gavin Boyle or Graydon Miller in the lineup, can they win again? It's the Americans. It's the Diesel. It's Americans Out of League Baseball on the Americans Baseball Network.
That the ace of the Giant pitching staff that season was Niagara Falls native Sal Magley. A league low 2.71 earned run.
They chose Niagara Falls because of the stadium, because of the history, because they believe in Niagara Falls.
Tickets 716-215-6161.
And where do you play?
We play right at Sal Magley, gorgeous stadium.
Set the 1-0 to Boyle. Is hammered to right field.
Go, baby, go, baby, go.
Come here,
go,
fence!
Baby.
That ball is way out of here.
Welcome into Sal Magley Stadium. It's Americans and Diesel in this out-of-league game for the second time this season. These teams faced off. The Americans looking for the sweep in the season series. I'm Andrew Roberts. I'll be your play-by-play broadcaster through all the action today. Our color commentator, Avery Vogt, will be with us later in the game. And as of right now, the Americans are coming out to the field. But ahead of this game, we'll give you a look at the PGCBL standings. The Batavia Muck Dogs are locked in to their playoff spot at 27-10-1. The Americans, Tarp Skunks and Doubledays, likely fighting for that second home game in that 2 seed. Pioneers are on the outside looking in. The Americans just 2 games away from clinching a playoff berth. The Pilots also down to their last chance. Unless they beat the Americans tomorrow, they will be mathematically eliminated from playoff contention, just like the Red Wings and Ironbacks. The Americans and Pilots in the next PGCBL matchup for the Americans will face off in tomorrow's game. First pitch at 6:30 p.m. in Newark. We'll have all the coverage here on the Americans Baseball Network. But for right now, we're going to pause for the national anthem.
Patriot wrapped head to toe in freedom. He's the red, white, and blue glue holding the spirit of the stands together. Put your hands together for Yankee Doodle Land! Ladies and gentlemen, at this time, we ask that you rise if able and remove your hats for the singing of our national anthem. Tonight's anthem, please welcome Vicki Lehman. Vicki is the lead singer of her band, in layman's terms, duo. Please put your hands together for Vicki Lehman. Gentlemen, a big thank you to Vicki Blayman for that stirring rendition of our national anthem. Fans, please be aware that balls and bats occasionally enter the stands, so keep your eyes on the game at all times. In addition, Sal Magley Stadium is a smoke-free facility. We ask that you refrain.
We bring you back here on the Americans Baseball Network. Andrew Roberts, as we get ready to get underway for this game between the Americans and Diesel for the second time this season. Who will come out on top between Paul Wolf and Will Cordero, albeit Wolf not here tonight. But the Americans bringing in a starting pitcher for this game, brand new player, Mike Gangloff. He's a product of Alfred State. Over at Alfred, an 0-1 record with a 5.31 ERA and 24 strikeouts. Teammates with Connor Kiefer back at school. Teammates in high school with Carmen Panaro. And Parker Gurnett in his final game working for these Americans with a nice first pitch. As we get ready to get underway, we'll read off the Diesel lineup that'll be facing Gangloff in this game. Batting first will be BJ Stack in right field. Joe DeLeo batting second and Mark DeLeo batting second and playing shortstop. Neil DeMartin, the second baseman, bats third. Nick Jasinski hit a grand slam at this stadium off of the Orioles. He bats cleanup. Ryan Baruti, the DH, batting fifth. Aiden Morose, the catcher, sixth. The Shabetta brothers, Adam and Jake, center and left. Seventh and eighth in the order. And then Brandon Gosling to round things out and play third. So it'll be Stack, DeLeo, and DeMartin to start off the inning against Mike Gangloff. Nick Past will be catching Gangloff in this first inning, but Dom Polillo is expected to show up later in the game and relieve Past of his catching duties for the day. Past, the only catcher remaining on the Americans roster outside of Polillo, who, as of right now, only set to catch in out-of-league games. Stack in right field to lead things off. Some reminders about this game before we get started. Today's game, as it is an out-of-league game, will only go 7 innings, and the results of the game do not affect the PGCBL standings, but we'll keep you updated on the other games across the PGCBL that will have an impact on the playoff picture. Strike one from Gangloff to the first batter, BJ Stack. The lefty, a longtime Buffalo Diesel member. Takes another strike, makes it 0-2. Diesel looking for their first win over the Americans this season. It's an outside ball one. That'll help them out. Gangloff signed for tonight's game. If tonight goes well, the expectation is that he will join the team for the remainder of the season. Foul ball to keep it at 1-2. BJ Stack, a former Canisius player. It was a long time back, but ever since then has been in Muni Ball with these Diesel, as well as the NABF World Series. Gangloff, the 1-2 pitch is grounded. Picked up by Ramos at short. He has to dive for it. The throw in time for out number 1. So Alan Ramos with a nice play right off the bat in this game. Shane Prey at first base, filling in for Graydon Miller. Other than that, the usual suspects in the Americans infield. Chris Gazaldo at third, Alan Ramos at short, and Ian Huang at second, with Connor Kiefer continuing to fill in for Grant Moore in center field. Mark DeLeo bats next. Second straight lefty Gangloff faces. Liner into center field. Kiefer backs up, makes the grab for out number 2. So 2 quick outs on these Diesel. The Americans, even when the bats have been a little bit cold over the last couple days, their defense has been rock solid. It gets better and better as the season goes on. And Neil DeMartin, a third straight lefty, to bat next. These Diesel stacking the top of the lineup with left-handed hitters. And there's a grounder on the comebacker to Gangloff. Throw to first in time for out number 3. Michael Gangloff with a 1-2-3 inning to start off the game against East Diesel. We'll send it to the bottom of the first and give you the American starting lineup after the break.
Fans, if you've been to a game, you know that I give away pizza to a lucky fan in the middle of the 3rd inning. But what you might not know is that Sammy's is located right across the street. They've also been family owned and operated for 3 generations since 1962 and originated the half tray of pizza. But if you're hungry at the game, you can stop by the concession stand and get a slice of Sammy's for yourself.
We bring you back for the bottom of the first inning. We'll give you the Americans lineup in just a moment. And here it is, Connor Kiefer in the leadoff spot for the first time this season. He plays center field. Ian Huang, the switch hitter, playing second. Chris Gazaldo in the 3-hole batting third, playing third base. Shane Prey playing first and batting cleanup. Carmen Panaro in right field bats 5th. Alan Ramos, the shortstop, bats 6th. Logan Stickler, the designated hitter, bats 7th. Liam Schott in left field batting 8th. And then Dom Polillo set to round things out as soon as he arrives. Unlikely that Nick Past will need to get an at-bat before Polillo takes over. And they'll be facing Alex Licata on the bump, one of the better pitchers in this Diesel rotation. 11 1/3 innings pitched across 3 appearances and 1 start last season. He led the team in strikeouts. Hasn't pitched much in 2025, but has gone well when he has. And Avery Vogt will be with us in just a moment. Just arrived in the building. Connor Kiefer to lead things off for the first time this season. If this goes well, possible he'll stick here at least until Grant Moore returns. It's a low ball 1 for Connor. Kiefer with the count in his favor takes another low ball. And if Kiefer can show the patience here, chance to get on base more than he would in a PGCBL game. He's been in the PGCBL for 2 summers now, played for Jamestown a summer ago. And up 3-0 in this count. Connor Kiefer looking to walk in 4 pitches to start this game. And takes the strike on the low edge. Licata not giving up on this at bat yet. Alex Licata, it's his first time facing the Americans this season. Swing and a miss by Kiefer. It's 3-2 to fill up this count. Kiefer, just like Michael Gangloff, the pitcher, a product of Alfred State. Reunited with his college teammate on the Americans for this game. Takes the payoff pitch and sends it into the infield. Shortstop DeLeo will not send it in time. Connor Kiefer with the base hit in the infield to start off this game. So Kiefer's on base and Ian Huang looking to advance him. Huang on the year, batting .254 with a .699 OPS. 12 RBIs as well. Extra bases here. Could knock in the speedy Kiefer. Kiefer already has a lead at first base. And Huang takes outside for a ball. Americans looking for their second out-of-league victory of the season. Both of those games have been against the Diesel. The third out-of-league game this season will be Thursday against Power City. Looking likely that that's going to be an intern game, so I'll be getting my first at-bat of the season as will Avery. Avery's been talking big about his knuckleball as well out of the bullpen. But Yankee Doodle Dan expected to start the game. The steal for second for Kiefer. He's in there in time. Tag doesn't get down. Kiefer takes second base. And it's now 3-0 to Huang as well. Ian Huang batting from the left side to face the righty Licata. Now looking to score. Kiefer, who gets to second, takes a strike on the low inside corner. Licata checks back on Kiefer, now delivers. It's inside. Ian Huang takes first base. There's 2 ducks on the pond for Chris Gazaldo. Chris Gazaldo hitless against Batavia yesterday, and that usually does not correspond with Americans' victories. The Americans falling short to the Muck Dogs 5-4. A low strike one for Chris Gazaldo. Received word that Avery will be joining us for the second inning and for the rest of the game after that. Gazaldo fouls it off. So 2 strikes with nobody out. Licata looking to retire his first batter. Checks back on Kiefer, who has a bigger and bigger lead towards third. And that's a line down the first base line foul to keep Gazaldo alive. We call him the X Factor. Only make a difference in a game that won't count towards his season-long numbers. Another liner foul. If he can hit one of those fair, make contact a little bit earlier, Chris Gazaldo could have himself extra bases, get the Americans on the board in the very first inning. Americans would love to score first in this one. It's a high fly ball. Ends up more of a pop-up and caught by Neil DeMartin for out number 1. Shane Prey to bat next. Prey has straddled the 300 line through most of the season. A 296 hitter now with a 735 OPS. Takes one just on that outside edge for strike 1. Shane Prey, primarily a catcher and third baseman over the course of his baseball career, but playing first tonight, filling in for Graydon Miller. Prey, a former member of the Buffalo Diesel, swings and misses. Kiefer takes third right there. He has another steal. Excuse me. The foul ball will cancel it out. So Kiefer, another lead towards third. Prey down 0-2. The pitch, Kiefer takes off, line shot into left field for a base hit. Shane Prey with the second hit of the game. And Connor Kiefer scores. First hit into the outfield as well. Shane Prey against his former team, knocking in the first run for the Americans. What a way to start the game for Shane. Carmen Panaro up next. The right fielder in the 5 spot for this game. 205 hitter, 737 OPS. Possible that we'll see Carmen out of the pen, too. Two-way player. One of the only Americans pitchers in the building today, but it's 0-1 to Carmen. Americans end up scoring 2 runs on that RBI knock. Huang comes around from third. Panaro drives that into right. Under it is BJ Stack, and he will make the grab for out number 3. So the Americans lead 2-0 through the first inning, and we'll send it to the top of the second after the break.
No, I'm kind of thirsty.
Me too. We could really use something.
Yeah. Oh, thanks.
Yankee Doodle Dan.
That's better.
We bring you back for the top of the second inning. This second inning here on the Americans Baseball Network, brought to you by Bully Hill Vineyards, a great place to grab lunch and taste over 40 different wines. Go to bullyhillvineyards.com for more. And as this second inning begins, we bring in our color commentator, Avery Vogt, joining the broadcast. Avery, how you doing today?
You know, Andrew, it's a really nice day out, not too hot. It's a nice sunny day out. It's a great day for baseball.
And a correction on the last inning. There was an out at third. So it's 1-0 Americans as we head to the second. Nick Jasinski to lead things off. Now Jasinski, if you remember, Avery, hit a grand slam against the Orioles in this very ballpark, but it's a lot different from the Orioles.
Yeah, it's a different approach here, especially with these Americans, and it's going to be a different outcome, I believe, right here against these Americans. So he might still get a piece of one, but I don't know about a grand slam.
Outside corner strike to Jasinski here. Takes the next pitch in that same spot. Michael Gangloff has found his spot in the strike zone. Can he throw it again here? This time he gets Jasinski to chase. 3-pitch strikeout. And the first of the game for Gangloff. Now it's Ryan Baruti, the DH, batting from the left side. Kind of crazy that Gangloff's had to face 4 lefties in his first 5 batters. And the first righty he faces, he strikes out. Right on right matchup, typically an advantage for the pitcher. Graydon Miller coming out to get the foul ball there at 0-1. Graydon will be on the call on for Thursday alongside Gavin Boyle. Showed him around our streaming software before today's outing. Ones across the board, and now it's 2-1 with the low ball. Gangloff throws that down the pike, and it's fouled off again. 2's on the count and 1 down to Ryan Baruti. That's just outside to fill things up. Gangloff looking to avoid his first base runner let on this game in his second inning of work. Line drive down the first base line, foul. Keeps Baruti alive. And if Gangloff can continue on like this, makes a good case to play in the playoffs, but there's a breaking ball for strike 3. Consecutive strikeouts for Michael Gangloff. If he can get Aiden Rose to whiff here, chance to strike out the side.
Yeah, that'd be a great start to this game here, especially with striking out all 3 batters, and nice easy up and down here for him.
Morose, the catcher for the East Diesel, takes strike 1 on the breaking ball. Really one of 2 catchers that's seen a lot of time for these Diesel alongside Jimmy Butner, who caught the game against the Americans last time around. Dom Polio officially in to catch after an inning of Nick Pass for the Americans. The Diesel's own catcher up to the plate with 2 strikes. Gangloff 1 strike away, but a ball outside first. No immaculate inning on the table, but Gangloff really hasn't thrown all too many balls. And that'll be the second of this at-bat. 2s across the board. Michael Gangloff has thrown just 4 balls across 3 batters faced this inning. 2-2 pitch will get in there for strike 3. And Michael Gangloff strikes out the side successfully in this second inning. What a way to start the game for Michael. We will send it to the bottom of the second after the break.
My fellow American fans, my name is Frankie Morris, your social media manager. You can join us all summer long with many promotional nights and tickets just as low as $10. You can call and get tickets at 716-215-6161 and take a crack at the action.
Hey fans, this season get yourself the latest Americans gear. Hats, t-shirts, sweatshirts, baseballs, and much, much more. Stop by the merchandise stand, buy concessions.
And we are back for the bottom of the second inning. Alan Ramos, Logan Stickler, and Liam Schott due up to face Alex Licata. The Americans scored 1 in the first inning on the RBI knock by Shane Prey. And I'd argue, Avery, that even though the lineup is missing 3 of its best hitters, the Americans look better thus far in this game than they did in the first one against the Diesel. I think a big reason for that, it was position players pitching last time around. Now, a collegiate level pitcher in Michael Gangloff joining the team and pitching rather well to start off this game. He struck out the side in his second inning of work.
Yeah, it's definitely a better approach here. I believe last time it was Evan Core who was pitching, but yeah, this time the pitching looks a lot better, and bats didn't start off great, but we still got a run in, so let's see if we can keep this going, especially with Alan Ramos up to the plate. He can definitely hit in, run the bases very well, so we'll see if they can keep it going here in this inning.
To score in the very first inning, I'd say, is a success, especially when all the biggest name bats outside of maybe Connor Kiefer outside this lineup today.
Yeah, but now we get to a section of the order where it's not as heavy, but it's still pretty good bats. So, like I said, Alan Ramos is up, and then Logan Stickler comes in after him, so they're definitely capable of getting some nice hits here.
The cool thing in common between these 3 batters is they're doing all they're doing here in the PGCBL without a single college at bat yet. Ramos, Stickler, and Schott, all rising freshmen. Ramos looking for his commitment. He's between a couple of different schools. Takes strike 1 outside. Stickler committed to York College of Pennsylvania, and Liam Schott is committed to Corning Community College. Alan Ramos most likely going Division I. And he has performed the best of the 3 accordingly. 247 batting average, 636 OPS. He takes another strike on the outside part of the plate. Ramos looking to start this inning off with a hit. 2 RBIs against Batavia yesterday. And there's a ground ball to the Diesel's own shortstop, DeLeo. The error allows Alan Ramos to reach first. Errant throw by Mark DeLeo. Alan Ramos on the base.
Yeah, that ball just kind of shoots the middle. Not much speed, but it was rolling a little bit funny, so Ramos gets rewarded with that, so he's now on first based on the error.
Logan Stickler bats next. Stickler, 178 hitter with a 475 OPS on the season. Those stats would be higher if those home runs had counted. I mean, knowing Stickler's luck, he's going to hit one tonight, and it will count, but it won't count.
Yeah, Stickler's been getting the short end of the stick with these umpires.
Short end of the stick. I see what you did there.
But yeah, he should have 2 home runs on his stat card, but unfortunately, like you said, Andrew, he's been robbed of them, so this would be the night he would score 1, like you said, Andrew, and it wouldn't count anyway, so.
1-1 to Logan. He takes it low for another strike. Back-to-back strikes from Alex Licata. And Licata, well, not necessarily a PGCBL caliber pitcher, certainly a capable hurler, and can retire some of these Americans' batters. Stickler lines that foul down the first base line. And Andrew Fraun, brother of American social media manager Leah Fraun, set to come out of the bullpen in this game. Started the last one between these teams. 1-2 pitch is just outside and headed for second. Ramos gets there in time. Just barely slides in safely. Ramos has a steal.
Yeah, Ramos there seemed to dive into second, but just kind of pulled his left arm away and extended his right arm just to get around the tag, and it was a nice heads-up play there by Ramos.
Alan Ramos, second on the active roster in steals, behind Grant Moore, who has 33. The foul tip keeps it at 2-2. Logan Stickler battling after the early 1-2 count. Ramos with 7 steals outside of the out-of-league games this season. Has had a couple of steals in these games as well. One of the fastest players on the team, looking to take third here potentially as well. Inside pitch at the feet of Logan Stickler fills up this count. Logan Stickler ready for the payoff pitch. See if he can get on with a walk or even get a hit here. But instead, an outside corner strike 3 sends down Logan. It's the first strikeout for Alex Licata today.
Yeah, that ball right there seemed to just paint the corner. I'm not quite sure if it hit it or not, but the umpire thought so. So, yeah, unfortunately, Stickler goes down there looking.
William Schott looking to knock in Ramos. Takes the outside, strike 1. And Schott, like Ramos, a rising freshman. The two of them live in the same apartment back at Niagara University, where a lot of these players stay, especially the players that are not local to Niagara Falls. Schott from the Elmira area. Alan Ramos hails close to New York City. Big cut and miss by Schott. Puts him down 0-2 in this count. William Schott, he's one of those guys, doesn't get a ton of playing time in Americans games, but this is the perfect opportunity to see what he has.
Yeah, this is one of those games that, although it's out of league and doesn't really count for much, it's always a good time to have some players put their skills on display. So yeah, like you said, it's a perfect time for Liam Schott to prove himself here.
I mean, there's a reason that the Americans have new pitchers and new hitters coming in for this game. But for Liam Schott, a chance to show what he has, earn some playing time as this roster begins to dwindle down. Just 11 healthy hitters on the current roster. Grant Moore makes 12 when he returns. But when you're putting out 9 or 10 batter lineups, that's not very many. Liam Schott up in this count. Thought he had a walk there. But he's one ball away. Not often you see a player lose track of the count.
Yeah, I mean, it's right on the scoreboard there, Andrew, so you would think you'd know, but...
Yeah. Is this Liam Schott or J.R. Smith? J.R. Smith, for those of you who don't follow the NBA, famous for forgetting the score during an NBA Finals game, but Liam Schott strikes out right there after he thought he had the walk.
Yeah, instead of that walk there for Schott, just strikes out. And, yeah, like you said, J.R. Smith, LeBron throwing his hands up, pointing at the basket and trying to hurry up to score, but, yeah, unsuccessful on that one.
Dom Polio takes the ball outside. And Alex Licata has struck out 2 consecutive, looking just like Michael Gangloff to strike out 3 in a row. This would be the part of the order to do it against. Schott and Stickler seeing the least playing time out of the season-long Americans in this batting order. Don Polillo just here for the out-of-league games. 1-1 on the count to him. Popped foul. And Don Polillo comes out of Niagara Falls High School. Still has one more year there. So not eligible to play in PGCBL games, but while this does have a PGCBL team in it, Polillo able to get the chance here. 1-2 pitch right down the pike, and Polillo strikes out looking. Licata and Gangloff with 3 strikeouts apiece as we send it to the 3rd inning after the break.
Fans, if you've been to a game, you know that I give away pizza to a lucky fan in the middle of the 3rd inning. But what you might not know is that Sammy's is located right across the street. They've also been family owned and operated for 3 generations since 1962 and originated the half tray of pizza. But if you're hungry at the game, you can stop by the concession stand and get a slice of Sammy's for yourself.
Back for the top of the 3rd inning. This 3rd inning brought to you by Greater Niagara Federal Credit Union, by Geico of Buffalo, Sammy's Pizza, and McDonald's. Sammy's Pizza, the official pizza of the American. It's 0-1 to Adam Shibetta, the first of 2 Shibetta brothers in this diesel order for Gangloff to face another big cut and miss. Michael Gangloff is tossing up a gem so far in this game. See if he can keep it going here in this 3rd inning. That's a line shot into the outfield for a base hit. No hitter and perfect game are dead. But Michael Gangloff still looking very sharp out there.
Yeah, that ball seemed to scream right past him. His head flew off. Just had to avoid that ball, but luckily he's okay. He missed it, and yeah, now they got to run around here for the diesel.
Can still keep it to the minimum batter's face with a twin killing. Breaking ball finds the outside edge for strike 1. I really like what I've seen out of Gangloff so far.
Yeah, after especially that 2nd inning where he's striking out the side, it's definitely proven he's got some nice pitches to throw here, and would only make sense to have him pitch in one of these actual games if he stays on the roster.
1 strike away from his first out. And throws the breaking ball just outside there. A little too much break. Was trying to get Shibetta to chase. It's 1-2. Pop up in foul territory. It's going to go out of play. Ooh, drops in the stands. A big thunk.
Yeah, that fan in the orange shirt looked like he was going to catch it. Just popped a little short in front of him, but he had his hands ready.
Report card night here at the ballpark, so a lot of kids getting in 3. That's up the middle for the base hit. Both Shibetta brothers with a hit off these Americans, the first 2 of the game for the Diesel. Ties the Americans in the hit column. Can they do the same in the run column? That's the real question.
Yeah, those brothers with the last name Shibetta sounds like the chicken that usually gets served around here in Buffalo, Chevette's chicken. They got some good chicken over there. Always doing some high school fundraisers and whatnot.
Maybe they're related to the family. But Brendan Gosling up next. Big cut and miss for strike one on Gosling. Gosling, the third baseman for the Diesel today. It's his first time seeing these Americans. Did play a game against the Muck Dogs, though. So not his first time against PGCBL opponents. One Shabeta on second, another on first. Fly ball into right field. Panaro's under it. Makes the catch for out number one, and everybody stays at their base.
Yeah, the runners, they're not trying to test Carm there, and rightfully they knew to stay on their bags and not even try to advance the runners there.
Everybody leaving their bats right in the path of the batters. Having to get tossed back into the Diesel dugout. But it's back to the top of the order here with BJ Stack. Stack grounded out to Ramos his first time up. It was a diving play by Allen to record the out. One down here as well. Strike one on the outside edge to BJ. And oftentimes when Paul Wolf is not here to coach the Diesel, Stack plays a role in these starting lineups. Bit of a player-coach situation unofficially, but it's ones across the board to BJ. Up and down to the dugout, and there's times even when Wolf is here, he'll be writing up the lineup and BJ is giving him advice. Paul Wolf, a busy guy. Works 9 to 5 and coaches two teams, but the steal of third for Shabeta just in time. Adam Shabeta in scoring position and gets further into scoring position. Runners on the corners for BJ Stack now.
Yeah, they're looked like when Don Polio was throwing the ball back to first, excuse me, to the pitcher, it just seemed like he knew the timing. So yeah, Diesel there, take third.
And now Jake Shabeta is headed towards second. He's almost sneaking down that base path. Adam trying to come home, and he's tagged out. The Diesel ultra aggressive on the base paths, and it's had mixed results for them.
Yeah, they just try to go for like a double steal kind of play there, and fortunately doesn't work out for them as they get tagged up by home by Polio.
Diesel just trying to have fun out here, not a care in the world.
Yeah, it seems like they're just trying to test anything here against this out-of-league game, and seemed to kind of work, but not to the liking that they would have wanted.
I mean, Jake Shabeta just taunting Gangloff on that way to second. Takes the base because his brother Adam tried to come home. Gets gunned out there, the more important batter for the Americans to pick off. Now 3-1. Gangloff checks back on Jake Shabeta, now delivers. Liner into left center field. Ramos backing up, he'll miss it. Drops in the gap for a base hit. Runners back on the corners. See if the Diesel try to pull any more shenanigans with Mark DeLeo up to bat.
Yeah, if anything happens again, we might see BJ Stack try to take second there and maybe send the runner home, but there's only 2 outs here, so not much wiggle room here for the Diesel.
Only one Shabeta on the base pass. Now Adam was tagged out at the plate. Jake's on third. And now BJ Stack at first base. Mark DeLeo flew out his first time up and grounds it right up the middle. Dive by Ramos again. The throw to first in time, but
nice.
A run scores. That's going to do it for the third inning. My apologies, as out number 2 came on the tag out at the plate. We'll send it to the bottom of the third after the break.
No, I'm kind of thirsty.
Me too. We could really use something.
Yeah. Oh, thanks.
Yankee Doodle Dan.
That's better.
back for the bottom of the third inning. Give you a look at the PGCBL at large headed into this inning of action. The Muck Dogs and Tarp Skunks still scoreless in the top of the fourth inning. Ironbacks up 1-0 on the Pilots. If Newark loses that game, they're mathematically eliminated from the playoffs, and that would make it less likely that they play their best against the Americans tomorrow. The 0-1 pitch taken inside for Kiefer.
Yeah, and like you said, Andrew, if the Pilots lose today, which is hopeful, and they'll play the Americans tomorrow, like you said, and if they don't play their best, it'll be good for the Americans to capitalize a win.
So I'd argue that Americans fans today should be pulling for their rivals across the border. The Ironbacks not only have lost to the Americans 10 times to keep them in this playoff picture, but at the same time, if they can manage a win over the Pilots, the Americans will have tomorrow made a little easier, and they'll be one win closer to clinching their own playoff berth.
Yeah, it kind of gives me flashbacks from, I'd say, about 7 years ago when the Bills needed the Bengals to win a game and send them to the playoffs for the first time in a while, and Andy Dalton got it done. So Bills fans donated a bunch of money to his foundation. That was a great time in Bills history for that one.
Yeah, Kiefer takes ball 4, and I don't feel like the Bills-Bengals rivalry was as intense back then either, because Allen and Burrow are really the guys that have gotten that to the level it's at.
Yeah, well, I mean, yeah, like you said, they weren't really rivals at the time, but they were playing the Ravens, and the Ravens were always kind of a decent squad. So, yeah, when the Bengals pulled it off and win, everyone was –
yeah.
I remember seeing the video of all of the Bills players cheering in the locker room.
There's a liner into right center field for Ian Huang. It's caught by Shabeta in center. Adam Shabeta, I'd argue, the MVP so far for these Diesel.
Yeah, right there. He makes a nice catch. Connor Kiefer thought I was going to drop for a hit. He was pretty much 3/4 of the way to second, but has to run back real quick to first and manages to stay in.
I mean, got to give an A for effort to Connor Kiefer. I mean, very fitting on report card night to be giving out A's. Foul ball down the first base line. Drops just towards the edge of the diamond and out of reach for first baseman Nick Jasinski. Jasinski, the last time that he played at Sal Magley, was the designated hitter. Now getting a go at first base as Neil DeMartin shifts over to second. DeMartin has been at first for many Diesel games this season. And strike 2 on Chris Gazaldo on the outside edge right there. Gazaldo popped out to Neil DeMartin his first time up. Go-to pitch, swing and a miss. Chris Gazaldo sent packing. And it's 2 down on these Americans in this third inning. 4 strikeouts for Alex Licata.
Yeah, that one there seems to be a out-of-league game approach there by Gazaldo, just trying to make contact with something, maybe be a little more aggressive, and yeah, unfortunately gets sent packing.
Americans hitters arguably have more incentive to be aggressive in this game. Try some things out. It's fouled off by Shane Prey. I mean, a win here, nice for these Americans, but I'd argue the more important thing is reps here. Just getting your at-bats in, trying new things, seeing what works. Get the bat hot headed into Newark tomorrow.
Yeah, like you said, Andrew, just trying to see some pitches. I mean, may not be PGCBL, pitchers like we've seen, and it's just good to see where balls are going and try some stuff out. More of an experimental game, one would say.
1-1 to Shane Prey. And I mean, of the 8 full-time Americans in this order, and it's a liner into left center. It's going to drop in between the shortstop and 2 outfielders for a base hit. Shane Prey's 2 for 2, but Connor Kiefer just in time gets to second. The fans thought he would be out, but gets there just in the nick of time.
Yeah, Kiefer there was looking to take third, but realized that the ball was too close to the infield and trots back to second. But, yeah, he had to slide in there to make it safe, and luckily he does.
Yeah. But as I was getting at, of these Americans, the 8 that are in this order, A maximum of 7 likely to play tomorrow as Boyle and Miller will return to the batting order. It's an upstairs ball 1 to Carm Panaro, so I'd argue. I mean, not many bench spots, but a lot of these guys, if they have a good game today, they'll earn it tomorrow against the Pilots. An outside ball 2 for Carm Panaro. I mean, the biggest guy I look at is Liam Schott. Hasn't played much this season, but if he can get his first hit as an American, chance he'll be in the order tomorrow. Swing and a miss to make it 2-1 on Carmen. He flew out his first time up. Shane Prey, officially the first American in this game with 2 hits. The only American to lay down a hit in the outfield in this game, and he's done it twice. 2s across the board now to Carmen Panaro. Already the Stampedes for foul balls. Not much time to get those in this 7-inning game, but they can be exchanged for sweets. Another fly ball into right field foul territory. Goes out of play into the batting cages. Carm Panaro has pulled a lot of balls that way over the course of the last few games. Still looking for that first home run of the season, but I'd certainly say he has the power.
I would say if he's just a tad bit earlier on these swings, he could probably push one to the wall, maybe even over.
Had a sac fly to the warning track on Friday against Jamestown. Counts full on him here. And I mean, sac fly still making a huge impact. The Americans went on to win that game 6-3. Payoff pitch. In there for strike 3 on the low edge. Inning over. Carm Panaro, the 5th strikeout victim of Alex Licata. We'll send it to the 4th inning after the break. Still only 1-0 Americans on these Diesel.
My fellow American fans, my name is Frankie Morris, your social media manager. You can join us all summer long with many promotional nights and tickets just as low as $10. You can call and get tickets at 716-215-6161 and take a crack at the action.
Back for the top of the 4th inning. This 4th inning is brought to you by the International Brotherhood of Electrical Workers, Local 237, by Johnny Ryan, and by Coca-Cola. And the beer garden getting shut down for the season, but I mean the beer garden early in the season not only served alcoholic beverage, but also served Coke beverages. And when we were cleaning out the beer garden earlier today, I found a Coke with my name on it. Share a Coke with Andrew. I had to take that one for myself.
Yeah, it's not very often you always find your name in those bottles of Coke, but when you do, you definitely got to keep it.
A low strike 1 to Neil DeMartin. The second baseman grounded out right back to Gangloff in the 1st inning. Breaking ball just outside to make it 0-2. I mean, a little bit easier for me than your average person. I feel like I have a pretty common name, so that helps. Outside for ball 1. I mean, when you Google my name, comes up with a British historian. It's outside for 2-2. Hoping to change that one day if I make it big in the broadcast field. Maybe one day, the first Andrew Roberts you come up with. Foul ball right down the first base line to make it 2-2. Gangloff with the count even. Big cut and miss. Neil Martin, the 4th strikeout victim for Gangloff. He's struck out the 3 through 6 hitters in this order today.
Yeah, Gangolf out there. I mean, first time pitch out for the Americans, but definitely established himself here with getting some nice strikeouts.
Nick Jasinski looking to avoid the 2nd strikeout against Gangloff. A little more patient here. Takes one outside for ball 1. He was hacking and missing a lot the first time up. Showing off that home run swing. But a lot harder off of Gangloff than the Orioles pitchers. One's across the board to him as he fouls it off. Right down the pike for strike 2. There's a 1-2 pitch, and it's a high chopper. Chris Gazaldo picks it up, throws it across the infield for out number 2. Gazaldo, as good as usual at third base. Ryan Baruti up next. And we were talking during the break, Avery. Johnny Ryan Soda, proud sponsor of the Americans, giving soda to every American who hits a home run. And with the intern lineup set to debut on Thursday, which of the Americans' interns do you think is the most likely to hit a home run in an exhibition game, or out-of-league game, rather?
Honestly, I got to go with either Frankie or Leah if they do get a hold of one. I'm not positive both of them are playing, but they should be both in the lineup. But yeah,
Leah won't be here; she's on vacation.
True. So I think
2-0.
Frankie's got the best shot. She plays
I mean,
softball, so she's got a good chance of hitting one, I think.
I'd be with you. I mean, the one argument against that at Niagara University last season, limited playing time, but did not hit a home run over there in her first year at NU. A swing and a miss for Ryan Baruti for strike 2. I gotta go with a bold prediction here. I mean, he didn't play baseball in college, but I'm gonna go with Riley Drew Cross. Swing and a miss for strike 3. Excuse me, he got a piece of it. But Riley Drew Cross played baseball as a kid. He was called a baseball prodigy by his parents. I'm going with Riley to hit a home run. But here's the 2-2 from Gangloff. Inside for ball 3. Riley, our official scorer, could score a home run for himself after the game if he hits one. And there's a pop-up in the shallow infield. Coming in, Gangloff misses it. An error on the pitcher. Ryan Baruti reaches first base. So Aiden Morose will see an at-bat in this inning. But yeah, we'll have to see what happens. Americans taking on the Power City Athletics on Thursday. Be Graydon Miller on the call. A lot of other players filling our usual jobs, and we'll be out there in the batting order.
Yeah, I mean, I've been thinking about it too, Andrew. I think Teddy Yo's got a pretty good shot. He's a pretty good baseball player, so I think he'd have a good chance of hitting a home run too.
Teddy Yo, been exclusively a pitcher since high school, but still a chance that he could hit one. I mean, he's a great golfer. Still has that swing, but he says his baseball swing messes with his golf swing and vice versa. So that's the tricky part of all this. 1-1 to Aiden Morose. Gangloff forces the chase there on the low pitch. Aiden Morose looking to avoid the second strikeout against Gangloff. Would be the 5th of the day for Michael. He's got a runner on first in the form of Baruti. Another cut and miss right there. That'll do it for the top of the 4th. And I mean, if these Diesel can't hit a home run, we'll see if the interns will be able to. But we'll send it to the bottom of the 4th after the break.
Fans, if you've been to a game, you know that I give away pizza to a lucky fan in the middle of the 3rd inning. But what you might not know is that Sammy's is located right across the street. They've also been family owned and operated for 3 generations since 1962 and originated the half tray of pizza. But if you're hungry at the game, you can stop by the concession stand and get a slice of Sammy's for yourself.
We bring you back for the bottom of the 4th. Hand it over to Avery for a message about American social media. Oh, wait.
Hey fans, this season you can connect with the Americans like never before with exclusive content on our social media platforms. Make sure you follow us on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, and Twitter.
Those ats are on your screen right now. Big shout out to Frankie Morris and Leah Fraun, our social media managers here at the Americans. Alan Ramos, Logan Stickler, and Liam Schott, the 3 rising freshmen, due up this inning.
Yeah, the Americans here looking to increase their lead here and be better with Alan Ramos and Logan Stickler, definitely all capable hitters, and Ramos is definitely a speedy guy, so if he gets on first or second here, he might be threatening to steal and maybe possibly come home.
Ramos reached on the air his first time up, batting .247 on the year with a .636 OPS, and as he mentioned, Avery, that blazing speed has led to 7 steals. And that doesn't even count the ones against these Diesel. Outside for ball 1 on the low edge. Ramos in this right-on-right matchup with Licata. Two 2-0 count now.
I think that's
Ramos takes a close shave. Could be a 4-pitch walk here if it continues on this trajectory.
9? That's BJ Stack then. Oh, wait, no, that's it. Oh, yeah.
And it's low and away. Alan Ramos takes a walk. In just 4 pitches, Ramos on first base. And Logan Stickler up to bat.
Oh, that's his spot. Never mind.
Stickler, the designated hitter today. And I was talking to Logan down on the sidelines today. His arm, after some elbow problems from pitching during his high school season, arm feeling a little better. There's a chance he could play the infield down the stretch. Alan Ramos takes second base on ball 1, but Logan Stickler was a third baseman in high school. So there's a chance he could mix in there down the stretch of the season.
Yeah, he's definitely a capable defender, and like we said before, Andrew, Ramos stealing second there with that amazing speed he's got.
Stickler has the count in his favor. Check swing, but pulls back in time for ball 2. I mean, may not need to, as the Americans have found their third baseman in Chris Gazaldo. He was a shortstop most of the season, but has shifted over to third. Breaking ball drops on the low edge for strike 1. Stickler, the York College of Pennsylvania commit. A 2-way player in high school. Low and away for ball 3. Stickler, when he pitched back in high school, won't pitch for these Americans, but he had a 2.41 ERA. That's not too shabby even at the high school level. 3-1 is right up the middle, fielded by DeMartin, but dropped. Stickler trying to beat it out, but he gets there in time. Neil DeMartin drops the ball, literally and figuratively. Logan Stickler on first. Ramos all the way to third base after the steal in advance. So the Diesel have committed 2 errors tonight. Americans also have 1 in the game. The total errors equal to the number of hits for each team. Shot with a low outside ball. And I mean, for the Diesel men's league team, understandable to have more errors than your average PGCBL game. The Americans, though, was a bit surprised to see the error. Fly ball into center field. And Shibeta is there to make the grab. Ramos tagging up the throw. Gets to second, but doesn't even come close to home. Sack fly for Liam Schott. Finds a way to get involved. Still doesn't have his first hit on the season, but knocks in the run. RBI number 1 for Liam.
That was a definitely an at-bat that was useful for this game. As like you said, Schott just gets an out from the shallow outfield, but yeah, like you said, drives in Ramos, so he gets that RBI sack fly.
Definitely productive. And there's a fly ball into left center, caught by Shibeta. And Stickler has to retreat to first, slides in, but tagged out. Gets tagged on his way for the slide, ends up a double play. That ends the inning. We'll send it to the 5th after the break.
No, I'm kind of thirsty.
Me too. We could really use something.
Yeah. Oh. That's better.
Back for the top of the 5th inning. This 5th inning here on the Americans Baseball Network, brought to you by Tropical Heating and Cooling. Call 716-870-0753 for expert service. Gonna need it later this week, that Thursday when we're set to play the game. A big heat wave coming in. So, I mean, got Graydon Miller on the broadcast. Gotta hope our equipment holds up here without me present, but
Yeah, and like you said, Andrew, there's a nice heat wave. If I'm playing the outfield, oh gosh, I'm gonna be dying out there.
But still going to be a fun time. The Shibeta brothers to kick off this inning, followed by Brendan Gosling. We'll have another update around the PGCBL in a few moments as it's ball 1 to Adam Shibeta. And here it is. Ironbacks now up 2-0 on the Pilots in the top of the 5th. The Tarp Skunks have the early lead on Batavia, 3-1 in the bottom of the 5th in Jamestown. Count is even at 1s. And there's a ground ball. Ramos picks it up, sends it to first, and that is overthrown. Error on Alan Ramos, and the slide into second base for Adam Shibeta, who reaches for the second time. 2 errors for the Americans in this game. A little bit careless in a game out of league when those errors don't count.
Yeah, I'm sure the Americans are just trying to test some things, like I said before, and I'm sure Ramos there was just trying to maybe change something up a little bit there on that throw to first.
Jake Shibeta up next. Just outside for ball 1. And it's fouled off to make it 1-1 on the second Shabetta brother with Adam on second base. Now, if these guys, if they can get on the base paths together, some chemistry between the two should help them both in a chance for a double steal, but that catches the low edge for strike 2 on the breaking ball from Gangloff. Gangloff throws it low and away to even things up. And going back to that Jamestown-Batavia game, Avery, I'd argue the Americans, another rival they'll be rooting for down the stretch here are these Muck Dogs. It's a cut and miss for strike 3 on Jake Shabetta, but when it comes down to it, Batavia, 3 games ahead of Jamestown for first place. They're likely to get that number 1 overall seed, win the West Division. Jamestown just 1 game ahead of the Americans, and they played the Muck Dogs 3 times this week. If they lose those games, there's a good shot the Americans will get the chance to host Jamestown.
Yeah, it's definitely
and have momentum.
Yeah, it's good if, like you said, Jamestown loses, and if the Americans do end up getting the higher seed and having the home advantage, I think it'd be a great momentum here for the Americans, especially if it's at home and in front of our fans.
Swing and a miss for strike 1 from Brendan Gosling. Here's the second pitch, and it's dribbled foul. Puts Gosling in an 0-2 hole. He flew out his first time up. Auburn is also in the conversation for that second seed. They're just another half game back from the Americans. And the Doubledays have owned Niagara Falls all season long. But the downside for Auburn in these playoffs, one of their 2 best pitchers already left for the season. Brennan Heilman is gone. And you throw Owen Burchard likely in the first round, but you get to the West Finals, it's going to be a big question for the Doubledays who they put out to pitch. Hunter Lefkis had a good game against the Americans, but going to be hard to repeat that given how his season is gone. 1-2 pitch to Gosling is flown on a pop-up into the shallow infield. Prey makes the grab. That's 2 down on these Diesel. BJ Stack coming up for the 3rd time today. Buffalo looking for their first run, and they have a runner in scoring position in Adam Shabetta. Stack represents the tying run, but 2 consecutive outs after the reach of second base on the error.
Yeah, it'll be good here if the Americans get out of this inning without any runs allowed. So, like you said, Andrew, they got B.J. Stack here for the Diesel at the plate. So if they can hold him here, it'd be good. But if B.J. Stack does good hit across, it might drive in a runner and split this lead into half.
Gangloff checks back, tosses one outside. Makes it 2-0 on the count. Another one outside. BJ Stack looking for the 4-pitch walk. He's already got on base once today with a single. But an outside edge strike by Gangloff. Keeps Michael alive in this at-bat. Gangloff, right when he got into the locker room, chatting it up with his college teammate Connor Kiefer and his high school teammate Carm Panaro. Throws ball 4 outside. That was a similar spot to the first strike, but ump calls a ball there. And BJ Stack takes the trot to first. 2 ducks on the pond for Mark DeLeo. Gangloff, first pitch, a breaking ball. And that breaks back into the strike zone. Backdoor slider. Mark DeLeo does not bite.
Yeah, that was a nasty pitch right there. That ball ought to A little bit of a late movement there, and it just breaks back in, and a nice pitch by Gangloff.
I mean, Gangloff, a decent fastball, but his breaking stuff is even better. That drops for a base hit. Here comes Shabeta to score. And the Diesel have a run on the board. It's 2-1. Cuts the lead in half. And still runners on first and second. BJ stacking to second base. Mark DeLeo into first. Shabeta comes home.
Yeah,
The Diesel cash in.
Yeah, the Diesel, they're just getting a nice hit across and scoring a run, so now they got a chance here to tie it and even push and take this lead.
Neil DeMartin, 2 down. Breaking ball. Stays outside for ball 1 this time around. But yeah, the spin on these pitches from Michael Gangloff might be the best I've seen from Americans pitchers this season. It's a swing and a miss. Neil DeMartin, count is evened up. I mean, there's some great breaking stuff across the team, but Gangloff, his spin going like no other. I mean, Matt Barr would have more, but he didn't end up pitching for the team. It's 2-1. DeMartin with the count in his favor. Big cut and miss right there. A nasty curve to put 2s across the board. Holy moly. 2-2 pitch. Fouled off. We'll see what Paul Wolf and Will Cordero decide on, but I'm sold on Michael Gangloff down the stretch for this team.
Yeah, he's definitely a surprise pitcher here, and he's definitely doing very well holding his own end here. And like you said, Andrew, he's got some very nice pitches.
Just outside to fill up this count. Neil DeMartin with the count all filled up. Ready for the payoff pitch from Gangloff, who's looking for his 7th strikeout. There's a pop-up into the shallow infield. In comes Ramos, makes the grab for out number 3. So no strikeout there, but out number 3 comes nonetheless. Diesel held to 1 run as we send it to the bottom of the 5th after the break.
Fans, if you've been to a game, you know that I give away pizza to a lucky fan in the middle of the 3rd inning. But what you might not know is that Sammy's is located right across the street. They've also been family owned and operated for 3 generations since 1962 and originated the half tray of pizza. But if you're hungry at the game, you can stop by the concession stand and get a slice of Sammy's for yourself.
Fans, do you or someone you know have a birthday coming up? Why not spend it with the Americans? Packages include 10 tickets, 2 large Sammy's pizzas, 10 drinks, customized Wegmans cake, autographed Americans baseballs, and special recognition at the game, starting at just $175. Sign up online at www.niagarafallsamericans.com to find out more. Wegmans and Sammy's Pizza, the official sponsors of the birthday package, and we will keep it here, speaking of Wegmans, for the Wegmans Kids Run after this inning. Connor Kiefer to lead things off in this bottom of the 5th. Kiefer takes ball 1. Yankee Doodle Dan has told us that just like the players don't have these stats count, his stats in this kid's run do not count towards his undefeated record, which tells me maybe he's throwing the race today.
Yeah, it seems like he really wanted to get that point across that his record isn't affected here, but you never know.
It's low for ball 3. Connor Kiefer looking to walk for the second time in a row. Andrew Fraun into pitch for the Diesel now. Brother of social media manager Leah Fraun, who we mentioned back in the 4th inning, but it's 3-1 to Connor Kiefer. Kiefer, fly ball into left field. Just foul. Counts all filled up. Fraun, the payoff pitch. Fouled off by Kiefer. Connor Kiefer fighting in this full count. Andrew Fraun looking for his first strikeout of the game on the payoff pitch. Fly ball into left field, goes foul. Kiefer really battling, making this a long at bat. Here's the payoff. It's low and away. Connor Kiefer takes a walk.
Hello, testing. Hello. As here you go at Ian Wang coming up to a bat here.
Wang on the day, a walk and a fly out. And it is a low ball to Ian. It's 3-0 on the count. Avery, what's the approach for Wang here? Do you take the green light against a team like the Diesel?
I was going to say, if it's an out-of-league game, I definitely, why not, take a nice hack at it.
Instead, takes the low strike. And he takes off for ball 4. Ian Wang makes it first and second consecutive walks in this game between Kiefer and Wang. Chris Gazaldo up to bat. Swing and a miss for strike 1. Andrew Fraun looking for his first out after consecutive walks, and there's a line drive into right field for the base hit. Kiefer holds up at third. Everybody holds. Bases are loaded for Shane Prey, and Prey has 2 hits in this game. This is not a guy you want to have the bases loaded for, Avery.
Yeah, especially with his 2 hits, like you said. Andrew, he's got a chance to knock in some runs here, possibly even 3 if he gets possibly a bases clearing double here. This would be a good look here for the Americans to really extend their league.
That would be great for Shane Prey. He hasn't seen extra bases yet in this game. More of a singles hitter overall, but he has seen the occasional double this season. Ball 1 outside to Prey. Ooh. Over the head of Shane to make it 2-0.
Yeah, instead of 2 ducks on the pond there, we got a duck there from Shane Prey.
Prey has to duck, and there's 3 ducks on the pond. Liner into center field. Shabetta chasing it down, makes the catch, but Kiefer tags up now. He's going to score with ease. 3-1 Americans. That matches the score from the last matchup between these squads. Shane Prey with a sac fly and free frappes for everyone with the 3rd run coming in.
Yeah, it's a nice way to cap it right there for this inning. It's a sacrifice, so Kiefer makes it home. And like you said, Andrew, a nice outing here for the fans as they get the free frappes.
McDonald's giving out free frappes to all fans every time the Americans score 3 runs in a home game. Panaro at the ankles for ball 1.
Yeah, Carm there doing his best Michael Jackson impression.
For sure, dancing out there. Just like Huang's dancing on second base, and it's a foul ball. Huang was ready to take 3rd, but that lands on the foul side after hugging that first base line. Panaro, fly out and a strikeout in this game thus far. And that's inside. Ball 2, 2-1 to 2-1. Panaro in right field for these Americans. Can he send one that same direction? Braun, the 2-1 pitch, just outside. Hitters count for Carm. See if he swings on the 3-1 pitch here. I mean 3-0. Very rare to get a green light in this league, but 3-1 could be a different story, especially in an out-of-leaguer. Taken low for ball 4. Andrew Fraun has walked 3 batters in this inning and 4 total in the game. Logan Stickler up to bat next after Alan Ramos, excuse me. Ramos once again has the bases juiced for him. Bases were last loaded for Shane Prey, and he hit a sac fly. Alan Ramos has reached on an error and walked in this game, so without a hit, but he's reached twice anyways.
Yeah, he's definitely got the speed like we said before, so he can beat out any throws, but yeah, the first time reached on the error, and he's been stealing second the 2 times he was out, so he's definitely showing it off here.
That is low and away, but finds the corner for strike 1. High breaking ball puts ones across the board. And as this game goes on, just want to give a big shout out to all our fans watching the broadcast here. Have brought life to the chat these last couple days, as they have throughout the season, but some especially lively live chats in recent games. Love to see the activity, see fans chatting about the games. It's 3-1 to Allen.
Yeah, these recent games too, Andrew, we've been seeing some Tarp Skunk updates, and especially they were flooding our live chat when we did play the Skunks. People rooting for the Skunks. I mean, no shame in that. That's their team, so they got to root for them.
Count all filled up on Alan Ramos. One particular fan, when the Americans have lost games, so dedicated to the team that he's out there eating raw chicken when the Americans lose. Apparently that tradition has been put to a halt, but Alan Ramos walks in a run. Scoring on that is Ian Huang. Gazoldo to third, Panaro to second, and Alan Ramos, the new runner on first base for Logan Stickler. This would be a great time for Logan Stickler's first home run of the year, even though it wouldn't count on the stat sheet. Would drive in 4 more runs, would make it 7-1, or rather 8-1 Americans.
Yeah, just like his other two home runs, like you said, Andrew, they wouldn't count because the umpires like to mess around with Logan Stickler. Not on purpose, but they've pulled back 2 of his home runs that he's hit. So, yeah, be following the fashion here for Logan.
But the bottom line, the mercy rule in a 7-inning game is after 5 innings. So if the Americans can hit a grand slam here, they'll be just 3 runs away from the mercy victory. Stickler, a big cut and miss for strike 1.
Yeah, I'd just like to note, Andrew, you said the Grand Slam would put these Americans up to 8, and Grand Slam's a great meal to get at Denny's.
Certainly swinging like he knows about that mercy rule. One's across the board to Logan. And I mean, not a league game like this, typically starters wouldn't be playing, but the Americans, at least on the batting side of things, pretty short-handed at this point in the season. Now, a lot of rosters across the PGCBL have dwindled down as the season progresses. I mean, gets late into the summer. Gotta give the props to these guys for putting out a full effort every single day when summer's dwindling down, and it's 3-1 to Logan. The guys that have stuck it out, I give a lot of credit to them when their teammates are going home trying to lay back the rest of the year. But the count is full on Stickler. Just catches that outside corner. Payoff pitch is just outside. Logan Stickler walks in another run. It's been a parade for these Americans in this inning, just marching across the bases. 3 bags galore.
Yeah, you'd think it'd be like a army battle out here the way they're marching. So as the bases are still juiced for Liam Shaw, it seems we'll have a pitching change for the Diesel here.
Interim manager coming out to speak with Andrew Fraun. This may be it for him. Fraun has walked 6 batters over the course of 2 innings. Just 1 down in this second inning of work. Liam Shaw and Dom Polillo are set to bat next. The Americans looking to bat around.
Yeah, it'd be good for the Americans to get everyone up in this inning, and like you said, Andrew, get some runs across here and push towards that mercy rule.
Americans in their 3rd time through the order. At exactly 5 batters in each of the previous odd innings, exactly 4 batters in the even innings in this game. Now a chance to have everyone up in this inning, but Andrew Fraun's day is done. We'll get you word on who the new pitcher is in just a moment. But the Diesel, with their 3rd pitcher of the game, the Diesel had 2 more relievers ready to go in this game. Manny Alemany, the new pitcher for the Diesel. Averaged 5 innings per outing in 2024. 2 outings for 10 innings pitched. Inning pitched very early into this Diesel season. Wearing number 20 as opposed to his usual 36. So 1 down, Alemany looking to finish out this Americans order. The Americans have the bases juiced and just 1 down. Liam Shaw, the next batter, followed by Dom Polillo. If those two can extend the inning, Connor Kiefer can get up for a second time in this fifth.
Yeah, the Diesel here throwing in a pitcher with the bases juiced. It's going to be a tough spot for the Diesel to get out of. So, yeah, we'll see if Liam Schott can extend this inning, and Polillo comes up next. And like you said, Andrew, hope for Connor Kiefer and maybe even Ramos to come up after.
Liam Schott on the season for the Americans has not recorded a hit, but doesn't mean he hasn't been able to get on base. Total of 7 walks for the team over the course of the season. And that's down the first base line. Foul. Makes contact there, but does not go fair. Schott. A .438 on base percentage headed in today. In this game, a strikeout and a sac fly, so he's 0 for 1. The 0-1 pitch. Just outside to even up the count. One's across the board to Liam. Stickler, Ramos, and Pinaro on the base pass. Each one of them walked consecutively off of Andrew Fraun. Knocked in Huang, Gazaldo, and Connor Kiefer in this inning. Swing and a miss for strike 2 on Schott. So the Americans with a 4-run lead need 6 more to mercy the Diesel. And there's a soft little dribbler into the shallow infield, and Alemany has to cover, makes the tag, but a run comes in. And the runners advance. It's 6-1 Americans on the RBI ground out by Liam Schott. Jasinski back to Alemany. The Americans put another run on the board.
Yeah, Schott there, another productive at bat as he drives in another run. So good look there for the Americans.
2 RBIs for Liam in this game. And 4 consecutive at-bats with a run batted in for the Americans. Pinaro, Ramos, Stickler, and Schott each knocking in a run. Excuse me, it was Shane Prey who knocked in the first with a sac fly. But nonetheless, 3 in a row, knocking in one. It's a low strike to Dom Polillo. Polillo swings and misses big on the 0-1. 1 strike away from this inning being over. Manny Alemany looking to finish it out in just 2 batters faced and prevent the Americans from batting around. But Polillo has 2 runners in scoring position. The 0-2 fouled off as Dom stays alive. Polillo just his 2nd game as an American. Both of them have been against these Diesel. Has 1 more year of high school, and then maybe he'll come back and play for the team in a year. The 0-2 pitch is in there for strike 3. On the outside corner, Dom Polillo goes down looking for the 2nd time today. Manny Alemany saves this inning and saves this game for the Diesel. Americans lead 6-1 as we send it to the top of the 6th after the break. But before that break, the Wegmans Kids Run taking place on the field. Will Yankee Doodle Dan throw this, or will he continue his undefeated record? Doesn't look like he's throwing this race one bit. Has a huge lead on these kids. What was he talking about? This doesn't count towards his undefeated record. I guess that's why. Bumped into Apollo, and Apollo's waiting at the finish line, and Dan is beat out by every single one of these kids. Is he okay? And he is going to hobble to the finish here. Bumping right in to the Americans' favorite bird. But his undefeated record still hanging on. I mean, he would have had it anyways if he didn't run into the mascot.
I gotta say, Yankee Doodle had a big lead out there. Definitely could have easily made it in time. But yeah, Apollo just steps in and trying to help the kids.
Absolutely. We'll send it to a quick commercial ahead of the top of the 6th.
No, I'm kind of thirsty.
Me too. We could really use something.
Yeah. Oh, thanks.
Yankee Doodle Dan.
That's better.
Nick Jasinski to start off the 6th inning for the Diesel. And Michael Gangloff still in for a 6th inning of work. This 6th inning is brought to you by Niagara County Legislator Chris Robins, by Laborers Local 91, and Wegmans. Jasinski, Baruti, and Morose, the only batters who didn't come up in the 5th, will all bat in the 6th for these Diesel. Americans have given Gangloff plenty of insurance, most of it coming in that bottom of the 5th inning when they made it 6-1. Put the lead up to 5, and it's a liner into center field. Kiefer's chasing after it. It's more center right, but Kiefer makes the grab. Nick Jasinski retired as Connor Kiefer once again showing off the range on defense.
Yeah, Kiefer there just had to move back a little bit with a couple shuffle steps and just seemed like it was a little bit out of reach, but no, Connor Kiefer's got that range like you said and makes that catch in time.
And I'd argue Connor Kiefer, I mean, Graham Moore, great defender. But Kiefer, I think he has the most range on this team on defense. I mean, when he plays second, backing up all the way into the outfield to make catches, and then in center field, reaching the corners of the infield.
Yeah, Kiefer too. He's not
the outfield rather.
Kiefer's not the biggest guy on the team. He's not a guy built like Greg Miller, who's about 6'6". Kiefer on the little bit of the shorter side, but like you said, he's definitely got that range and the speed to make these plays. So he's definitely a bona fide defender here on these Americans.
I mean, feels like a cross between Jose Altuve and Cedon Rafaela out there.
Don't bring up Jose Altuve. We all know about that garbage can incident.
Jose Altuve was good before the garbage can incident. I think he's the one that was immune from all that. But it's ball 4 to Ryan Baruti from Gangloff. Okay, how about Justin Pedroia for your shorter second baseman that wasn't involved in a cheating scandal?
Anything that doesn't involve the Astros is okay with me, Andrew. So yeah, we'll take it.
As a Red Sox fan, love comparing Kiefer to two Red Sox players, Pedroia, Rafaela. Both played for the team. Liner into right field. Panaro almost gets there, but it drops next to him. Single and headed back to first after trying for second. Aiden Rose slides in safely. He's down on the base. They're going to come check on him. We'll hope he's all right. Diesel may need an emergency catcher if Morose can't continue this game.
Yeah.
That was his first hit of the game, and he's down on the field. Krista, the Americans trainer, now coming to check on the runner on first, Morose. Not what you want to see in an out-of-league game, Avery.
Yeah, no, you'd want to think, especially if it's an out-of-league game, that your players kind of take it a little easier, you know, not trying to stress anything too hard. But, yeah, unfortunately there, the catcher there for the Diesel Mirage there just kind of goes awkwardly back into first base. Hope he's okay, though.
We'll take a pause from the audio and hope that Morose is all right. We bring you back in this top of the 6th inning. Aiden Morose seems to be all right, but he's going to rest for the rest of this game. Nick Jasinski, he was in the cleanup spot, but now pinch running for Aiden Morose as well. And I mean, hard to do two things at once, but Jasinski's going to have to here. Ball 1 from Gangloff to Adam Shabeta. Runners on 1st and 3rd for him. Swing and a miss to put ones across the board. And I'd argue maybe the best solution is to at least temporarily have the starting pitcher, Alex Licata, come in as a catcher. I mean, if you're going against typical baseball rules, not many others on the bench for the Diesels, so might be what you have to do. 1-2 to Adam Shabeta, or maybe the manager comes out to catch. Guess that's the other option. Speaking of managers who catch, Dan Brick, the coach for SUNY Niagara, used to catch for this Diesel team. Shane Prey diving for that foul ball. It's out of play. Dan Brick was initially set to coach these Americans as well, was an assistant coach last season, but due to the number of SUNY Niagara players on the team, the Americans opted for the Wolf Cordero combo after the first game of the season. That's a wild pitch. And trotting into second base, Nick Jasinski. It'll score Ryan Baruti. The Diesel make it 6-2. Avery Vogt back with us after briefly filling in for DJ Cam. The best backup DJ here at the barbershop. I mean, liner up the middle for the base hit. And that sends Nick Jasinski all the way to third base. This is unprecedented. Nick Jasinski flew out, and now he's pinch running all the way to third. Shenanigans for the Diesel. Had it again. Well, I mean, Avery, not the first time we've given you a shout-out for your DJ work here on the broadcast. When Morgan Spriggs was filling in, I mean, she was cracking up about the SpongeBob meme that you played when the hit-by-pitch happens on the hit on the leg. The my leg sound screaming through the speakers.
This game a little more fun and enjoyable, so it's always a good time over there on the DJ spot.
It's 2-0. Shabeta, and now taking off for second, his brother will get there in time.
Yeah,
two runners in scoring position.
Yeah, Wang there looked like he was going to threaten to throw home if the Diesel double stealed again, but no dice there from the Diesel at third base with Jasinski.
So many steals in this game. Swing and a miss on the 3-0 pitch. Jigs Shabeta, the first batter with a green light on the 3-0 in this game. Bunt shown right into the glove of Michael Gangloff. That makes it 2 down. Brendan Gosling up next. So the pop-up right back to the pitcher Gangloff right there. Brendan Gosling up next. Ooh, first pitch. The breaking ball inside. Gosling takes the ball. And there's a liner into left center field, and it will drop in the gap for a base hit and more. Double for Brendan Gosling, knocks in both runs, now heading to third. And the throw gets away. Gosling started towards home. Could have had all 4 bases on that one.
Yeah, Gosling though, probably could have made it after the throw doesn't reach third, but decided to just try back to third and play it safe.
Let's get credit for a triple right there. And scores 2 runs on it. It's now 6-4. The Diesel have scored 3 runs in this inning to respond to the Americans' 4-run outburst an inning ago. Gangloff is officially done. We'll wait and see who the new pitcher is for the Americans. And Shane Prey right behind him leaving the game. Gotta see what's going on here. What's this? It's Alan Ramos on the mound. Alan Ramos making his Americans pitching debut. Now Prey's out of the game. The Americans are going to need a first baseman as well. Graydon Miller's coming in.
Oh.
Shane Prey headed to third and Gazaldo to short.
This is definitely a little bit of a mix-up here for the Americans, but I like it. And a little surprise for me is Alan Ramos is coming to pitch. Never seen him done this before, but, you know, it's always cool for my favorite player to do something different.
So Ramos likely done as a hitter in this game. Miller expected to take his spot in the starting lineup. As the new first baseman, Shane Prey over to third, Chris Gazaldo over to short. Did not expect to see Graydon Miller in this game, but he'll finish things out for the Americans, and who knows, maybe he can get a good AB in as well.
Yeah, Graydon Miller's a great hitter and definitely a solid first baseman for the Americans. So, yeah, if he gets in a bat here, might get some more hits like he's known to do. So it'll be good for him to just get a couple, maybe 1 or 2 ABs. So we'll see how that goes.
This game could be close to over, though, because if the Americans can hold on to this lead, Miller's 6 batters away from coming up. It's Kiefer, then Huang, then Gazaldo, Prey, Pinaro, Miller in the 6th spot. After that, it'll go to the top of the 7th inning if it even gets to Graydon Miller. And if the Americans can hold on, they will not bat in the bottom of the 7th. The game will be over. The Americans will win. Ramos getting a try as a pitcher. Now, the interesting thing to me here, surprised Gavin Boyle's not out there pitching because Gavin wanted it bad headed into the game. It's a fly ball into center field, caught by Connor Kiefer for out number 3. I mean, who knows? Maybe Boyle will come in for inning number 7, but we'll send it to the bottom of the 6th after the break.
My fellow American fans, my name is Frankie Morris, your social media manager. You can join us all summer long with many promotional nights and tickets just as low as $10. You can call and get tickets at 716-215-6161 and take a crack at the action.
Back for the bottom of the 6th inning. We'll hand it over to Avery for a message about group outings here at the Americans.
Remember, fans, an Americans game is a great way to enter in a group for the evening, and we are able to offer fundraisers tailored to your group needs. Nonprofits, churches, youth sports, and much, much more. For all information, please visit our website at www.niagarafallsamericans.com.
In this 6th inning, Connor Kiefer leading things off for the 3rd time today in an inning. Actually, the 4th time, excuse me. Led off the 1st, the 3rd, the 5th, and now the 6th. So he's led off every time he's come up to bat. That's not always how it goes for a leadoff hitter, but in this game, things have worked out that way.
Yeah, usually you don't see the same guy leading off for some innings. So, yeah, Kiefer's been the true leadoff guy here today.
Almost reminds me of when I used to be at Challenger baseball events. Every batter would bat every inning, but Kiefer, a grounder, thrown across the field and in time from the 3rd baseman Gosling for out number 1. Connor Kiefer retired for the first time today. He had a single and 2 walks leading up to this. Ian Huang up next.
Yeah, Kiefer there just seemed like he was going to beat it out to first, but unfortunately the throw just gets there in time. So, yeah, now we got Huang batting up here, so we'll see how this goes.
Speaking of Challenger baseball, much of the American staff had a chance to help out at a Challenger game. Did not have the chance to make it due to an Americans road game, but there were some interns there as well as a pair of pitchers, Keegan Bazinet and Austin Barton.
Yeah, I was fortunate enough to be one of those interns to go out there. It was a great time. It's always a nice time out there, fun for all the kids, and just playing some baseball like they love to do, and it was a great time out there.
2-0 to Ian Wang. He's walked twice and flown out, so he's 0 for 1. But yeah, I used to be involved with Challenger baseball back in my hometown, and always a fun time helping out. Down and in. Playing up 3-0 in the count. Takes a strike on the outside edge. Ian Wang. The count in his favor. Sends it right up the middle. It gets through the infielders for a base hit. Neil DeMartin and Mark DeLeo cannot get there. It's a seeing eye single for Ian, his first hit of the day.
Yeah, Ian there just drives the ball up the middle. And, yeah, none of the infielders can reach that ball, so Ian Wang reaches, and now he's on first right now for Chris Gazaldo.
Gazaldo, 1 for 3, single pop out and a strikeout in this game. Kiefer, or rather Wang, takes off for second. He's caught in a rundown now, heading back to first, and now headed towards second. He's likely going to get caught for out number 2 here. The tag laid down just in time for out number 2. Manny Alamani makes the tag on the rundown to catch Ian Wang.
Yeah, Ian just unfortunate enough didn't have the speed coming off the base there, so he gets caught in a rundown.
Alamani delivers on the 1-0. It's just outside to Chris Gazaldo. Gazaldo takes it low and away. Looking for the 4-pitch walk here. Put a new runner on base with Wang picked off. Shane Prey on deck. And that's a close shave for ball 4. Gazaldo.
It's actually 3-1. The umpire did not signal a strike.
Makes a correction. It's 3-1. No strike signaled, but strike got in there somehow. High fly ball into left field. And over is Shabeta. He makes the grab for out number 3. Chris Gazaldo flies out on what probably should have been a walk, but nonetheless, we'll send it to the top of the 7th after the break.
Fans, if you've been to a game, you know that I give away pizza to a lucky fan in the middle of the 3rd inning. But what you might not know is that Sammy's is located right across the street. They've also been family owned and operated for 3 generations since 1962 and originated the half tray of pizza. But if you're hungry at the game, you can stop by the concession stand and get a slice of Sammy's for yourself.
Back for the top of the 7th inning. This 7th inning brought to you by Seneca Niagara Resort and Casino, the official casino of the Americans. More winning, more comfort, more entertainment. Go to SenecaNiagaraCasino.com for more. Give you a look at the PGCBL at large. A couple of games impacting the playoff standings. Tarp Skunks lead the Muck Dogs 6-2 in the top of the 8th, and the Ironbacks up 8-2 on the Pilots, looking to make it 3 wins in a row after sweeping Auburn in the doubleheader. All of a sudden, the Ironbacks have a baseball team.
Yeah, it seems like late in the season they're figuring it out after they got eliminated from the playoffs. So not bad though for the Americans, especially if the Ironbacks win. It'll be good for their playoff standings.
I mean, whatever experiments are going on over in Canada are working for these Ironbacks. They had some good wins over Auburn yesterday, now against Newark, and there's a line drive into right center for a base hit. Mark DeLeo with his 2nd hit in a row. Ramos still pitching in inning number 7. Neil DeMartin up next. DeMartin 0 for 3 on the day. Grounded out on the comebacker, then a strikeout and pop out. That pop out went to Alan Ramos at shortstop, and now he's on the mound. Ramos with an early strike on Neil. Just outside to even things up. Ramos bringing some solid speed out here. I love to see it. And a lot of times guys will play 2 ways in high school, but a ground ball thrown to first, and the 2nd out not in time. Huang to Gazaldo to Miller, but DeMartin in safely to take DeLeo's spot at first base on the fielder's choice.
Yeah, the Americans are trying to turn 2, but like you said, Andrew, the throw just not in time.
Nick Jasinski up next. 0 for 3. Strikeout, ground out, fly out. So 3 different ways he's been retired. Jasinski just outside for ball 1. Neil DeMartin on first base. A low pitch to make it 2-0. Ramos has not pitched at the collegiate level. Hasn't hit there either, technically speaking, but count this summer. He's had plenty of ABs in college caliber baseball. Looking to avoid the 4-pitch walk here, and he cannot. Runners on first and second. Jasinski on board. And now Ryan Baruti up to bat. It'll be interesting to see what's done about this next at bat. Aiden Moroz out of the game, and Jasinski already on base. You can't bat Jasinski again. Ryan Baruti, the DH, for up first, though, and he takes an outside strike. Diesel have the go-ahead run at the plate and the tying run aboard, so they look to extend this game. Outside to put ones across the board. The 1-1 here is a liner right to Graydon Miller. Miller cuts it off before it has a chance to go in the outfield and throws to second for the double play. Oh my goodness, we send it. Or that'll be it. Excuse me. The Americans win this game 6-4. And I mean, the next thing we'll send it to is tomorrow's game. Americans at the Pilots tomorrow at 6:30. A win there, and the Americans will find themselves one game away from a playoff berth. And that playoff berth can come either through a win on Wednesday or a Pioneers loss on Wednesday at that point. But for now, thank you to everyone who tuned in to the broadcast. We thank Avery for coming on. And that'll do it here on the Americans Baseball Network. Final score from Niagara Falls. Americans 6, Diesel 4. Alan Ramos with the save. What a game here at the barbershop. We'll see you tomorrow night as the Americans take